I just want to say that I find it ironic that on the day of this historic and pivotal election in the United States, the opposition continues to argue that we should be reducing our presence in the United States. To be clear, I disagree. American voters will make a choice today, and our government will respect that choice and work closely with the new administration. I, for one, firmly believe that one of the most important ways to show respect for your neighbor, to engage with them, and build a relationship is face-to-face. I will now take your questions.
Thank you, Minister. We'll start with Mr. Barrett for 6 minutes, please.
New documents reported in Politico today reveal that Tom Clark lied during his appearance before this committee. We know that he personally complained that his taxpayer-funded residence wasn't up to his standards because it didn't have a luxury kitchen or the perfect floor plan. And after Tom Clark complained, Justin Trudeau rewarded his friend and media pal with a new luxury condo at 4 times the cost to taxpayers. So to Canadians who are watching, Justin Trudeau and Tom Clark fleeced the taxpayers and they tried to cover it up. So, Minister, do you think it's appropriate for Justin Trudeau to have awarded his media pal, Tom Clark, with such a flagrant waste of tax dollars, especially during this cost of living crisis that we're facing?
So, before you interrupt me, because I know, Michael, that's a strategy you use, I really think that there are 3 things. First, I think that, Canadians are getting good value for money because there will be $7 million in Canadian taxpayers' savings. Second, the process was respected at all times. And thirdly, I profoundly believe that more than ever, as we're going through, the American people are going through an important election today, we need to invest in our presence in the US. So I really hope, Michael, that you agree with me, because I know your riding is next to the US and you have 2 bridges that permit fantastic workers going through it, truck drivers, exporting and importing millions of dollars
That was sufficient
every
time
day
for you to not answer the
between
question,
Canada
Minister.
and US.
So
I've answered your question.
Is it common for your department to spend nearly $10 million on luxury condos without you personally approving?
So first and foremost, to answer your question, this was not a political decision because it was an operational decision. And you had numerous people, officials of mine, that came to see you and said that. So these are the facts, and I really hope that you can...
When did you approve the $9 million
this is again
luxury
the
condo
strategy that Michael uses, which is to interrupt
Tom
me.
Clark?
Michael, can you just stop? I'll just finish.
So,
I promise it won't be long.
Point of
I
order,
just
Chair.
want to finish my
Point
sentence.
of order, Chair.
Yep. Mr. Barrett?
Okay, so in spite of the minister's hostile response to my first question, she was afforded equal time to the amount of time that I posed the question, even though she didn't answer it. I asked a second question, and she was afforded equal amount of time to the length of the question, and she was able to do with that what she wished. Now, if the minister wants to interrupt me, that of course is not in order at this committee. So, Chair, could you please provide clarification to the minister that she will be afforded the same amount of time to respond as the amount of time that I pose the question?
It has been the practice of this committee that it is the member's time. So if you wish to take 5 minutes for a question and provide 30 seconds for a response, that is your decision, Mr. Barrett, but it is the committee member's time. Go ahead, sir.
To first learn about the $9 million New York City condo on Billionaires Row for Justin Trudeau's media buddy, Tom Clark? What was the date?
So first and foremost, I must say that this was not a political decision, so I learned it through the media. And at the same time, I made sure that all rules was respected, and that's the case in this case.
We didn't get a date from the minister. The story broke on July the 12th, and I have an email from your former chief of staff dated on June 17th that says, thanks for the briefing note of the issue. The decision to sell and purchase a new residence seems like the logical step to take in this instance. Did you meet with your chief of staff between June 17th and July 12th?
So I must say that, of course, the department informed my chief of staff once the decision was taken, because of course it was not a political decision.
Chief.
So many times per day, Michael. And you know what?
So-
it's good news because there's so many things
this
happening.
is flagrant malpractice.
I'm sorry, I'm
this is-
speaking.
Yeah, and your time is up.
I'm-
This is
no,
flagrant.
no, I'm
this is
speaking.
flagrant malpractice for you as a minister to just completely ignore,
Kelly,
to completely, to completely
I'm sorry, I'm
ignore.
sorry.
I'm gonna
I understand you're in the same party,
I'm gonna
both,
interrupt everyone
but at
here.
the same
I'm
time,
gonna interrupt everyone here. I have the floor. Couple things. It is the tradition in this committee, we use our last names out of kind of a sign of respect, but it is the members' time. I would ask, you'll have, I'm sure, an opportunity to perhaps get some of your points across to other questions, but it is the members' time. We ask that you allow Mr. Barrett to speak and provide answers. How much time do you have? We're at 3:44, so you have 2 minutes and 15 seconds, Mr. Barrett.
So, Minister, in the June 17th memo to your chief of staff, it says Tom Clark approved the $9 million condo and it was instrumental in the purchase. With hindsight, do you wish that your chief of staff had got your personal sign off on this if you claim that you did not in fact know about it?
so Michael, no, why? Because you've already answered, you have already asked me the question and I've already answered. So this was a decision that, according to Treasury Board rules, had to go through the department and therefore no
These are
political
Treasury Board
involvement.
rules that your government changed. Of course, you raised the limit just in time to, of course, buy this luxury condo for Justin Trudeau's buddy Tom
I'm sorry,
Clark.
but that's false.
Now,
That was done in 2019.
Now, right, your cabinet made the change, Minister. So you're the one who made the change just in time to be able to make this purchase so that you could say you didn't hear anything and you didn't say anything.
That's
How
false
many
also.
heads of mission have been, quote, instrumental in purchasing luxury condos?
So this is a decision that is always taken by the department. And so I know that you've been doing character assassination against Tom Clark, and that's really sad because when you don't have your facts straight, usually what you do,
What's really
you resort to
sad,
personal
what's really
attacks.
sad, Minister, is that Canadians are struggling just to get by, lined up at food banks in record numbers, and you seem to have checked out on any accountability that you should be exercising in your role as minister. And we see that instead of helping Canadians, you're helping well-connected liberal insiders. So I think I have just about a minute left. And I have to know, because the claim from your officials was that this was going to be a great deal. Canadians were going to save all kinds of money and that they had sold the previous condo. We heard that this was the case. So if you could tell Canadians now, how much was the check that the Receiver General received for the sale of the former residence that justified the purchase of this $9 million condo? How much did you sell the previous residence for?
So we are convinced that we'll make sure that we have $7 million back for Canadian taxpayers, because I think it is a good value for money transaction. It is a transaction that is actually
Minister,
well supported.
is that the check
and I'm
has- you
sorry,
haven't
I'm
received-
still speaking.
You haven't received a
and I'm-
check.
So, and you've
I'm
spoken
afraid-
for a long time.
I'm
It's not a
afraid
question,
you
haven't
it's actually
received
a
a check.
rant.
I'm
You haven't
afraid we
received
are
a
out of
check.
time. Both of you,
Canadians are out of
sorry.
pocket millions.
We'll go to Mr. Brock, please, for 5.
Minister, notwithstanding your opening comments about the importance of Canada's relationship to the United States, your appearance today is exclusively about the egregious abuse of taxpayer money. Emily Richardson, the Chief of Staff of your Associate Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs, the author of the infamous memo, was given information that Tom Clark was instrumental throughout the process and gave the green light for the purchase of the Billionaires Row condo. She testified that she simply inserts information as provided to her. Minister, you acknowledge that she wrote the original memo circulated on June 17th to your former chief that states Clark was instrumental, correct?
Donc, je vais juste répondre à votre question, Larry.
Just to answer your question, Larry. My chief of staff was informed once that his decision was made, and that's what was stated here. That's the information I have. These are the facts.
Day after this committee passed a motion ordering all documents from your department related to the purchase of the condo, the same Emily Richardson, who says she simply inputs information provided to her, all of a sudden issued a major correction saying it was a mistake, that Clark was instrumental and gave the green light. Minister, do you find that suspicious in any way?
Non, absolument pas. Parce que
Okay.
bien entendu,
No, absolutely not, because as I answered our colleague Rachel Blaney earlier, there's always some information provided to different ambassadors and consuls, but they don't have any decision-making power.
Suspicious, as do the millions of Canadians who are watching this on a live feed. And now it's been confirmed that your staff, the ministry officials who've appeared here, and even Tom Clark himself, the buddy, the good friend of Justin Trudeau himself, was instrumental in starting the process of relocating Tom Clark to Billionaires Row condominium in Manhattan. It was simply unsuitable for him. It was important for him to have the full suite of Gaggenau appliances. It was important for him to have the $5,000 coffee machine. It was important for him to have the golf simulator, and your office provided that to him. Isn't that correct?
non, c'est faux, Larry.
No, that's not true, Larry. You know what Canadians are looking at today? There are millions of people looking at us. I think that's somewhat exaggerated. I think there are millions of Canadians that have their eyes focused on what's happening in the U.S., the results of today's elections, and what Canadians expect is that we should be well represented, that we invest in our relationship with the United States.
A memo created by Emily Richardson was sent to your office, to your chief of staff. Your office gets involved, and the story around Tom Clark mysteriously and suddenly changes. Did you personally, Minister, become involved in the process to cover up for Justin Trudeau's close friend, Tom Clark? Yes or no?
Absolument pas. Puis
Absolutely not. I would like to know, every time you mention Mr. Trudeau, do you have
Trudeau, did your chief of staff assist Justin Trudeau in covering up for Tom Clark? Yes or no?
j'ai déjà répondu.
I think I've already answered that question. Every time you mention Justin Trudeau, I will also mention Pierre Poilievre, because one thing is for sure.
Again, were you ever briefed on the condo purchase from June 17th when your top official, your chief of staff, became aware a government document identified Clark as being instrumental and gave the green light?
Est-ce que Pierre Poilievre vous a demandé?
What Pierre Poilievre, he asked us the same question 3 times. Maybe I'll give 3 different answers.
What else is your chief of staff keeping from you, and by extension, you, Minister, keeping from Canadians?
Je pense que les Canadiens cachés au Canada.
I think Canadians expect us to invest in the relationship, that we have value for our money, and that all the processes are followed.
En accord avec cette approche.
So we agree with that.
Clark is paying $1,800 per month in rent. That's less than the national average for Canadians. Do you think that's fair, that that's what he has to pay in rent for a $9 million luxury condo when your government is responsible for doubling rent, doubling mortgage costs, requiring Canadians to have to save 25 years just for a down payment? That's your government's legacy, and you're giving this guy a $9 million condo for $1,800 a month. Do you think it's fair, yes or no?
How much is Pierre Poilievre paying for staying in his government-funded
Minister,
house
I have great
right
news
now?
for you. You're going to have lots
no,
of
but
time to
Michael,
ask us questions
just-
when you're on the opposition side of the House. But today, you're supposed to be a minister that's responsible for your department, and you're demonstrating a failure in that.
You can, yeah, that is our time. We will go to Ms. Atwin, and
Good job.
perhaps we'll go to Mrs. Kusi and then Mr. Souza to finish off.
Bonjour, Madame Ministre Melanie. You said in your opening statement today that it was in the media that you learned about the $9 million condo purchase. How is it that you didn't know about this purchase before you yourself admitting to just learning about it from the media?
Thank you, Stephanie. I'm happy to see you. I know that you come from the Diplomatic Network of Canada, being the former consul in Dallas, and I know you trust Foreign Affairs to deal with important assets in which you had the chance to work in Argentina, in Dallas. And you know that the rules are always, under my watch at least, respected, and that was the case. And so we followed Treasury Board rules as you did as when you were former consul in Dallas.
Thank you for that response, Minister, but I still find it very shocking, as I think Canadians do, that you were made aware of this purchase through the media. Minister, how did you not know that the Deputy Chief of Protocol in Global Affairs attended a Russian embassy party? How did you not know that?
So that's a fair point, and I was not happy about my team not informing me. And I think I've said what I needed to say about that. Since then, my question to you is, why would the Conservative not support Ukraine in this decisive moment in the world while Ukrainians are fighting for their freedom, but also ours? And I know as a diplomat, you would know what that means.
Well, I appreciate you bringing up Ukraine, because my next question to you, Melanie, was how did you not know that Canada accepted an invitation to send a patrol ship to Cuba while the Russian Navy was present? So I think your point about Ukraine is a very good lead-in to this question. How did you not know that?
So this is a question you should ask to the Defense Department and my dear colleague who's doing a great job, Bill Blair. And he's the minister that will see the doubling and nearly tripling of the defense budget under his watch and under our watch as government, which the Conservative cut the Defense Department's budget 5 years in a row, and that's unfortunate.
My point, Madam Minister Melanie, is that you have just indicated now 3 things that you did not know. You did not know that we had purchased a $9 million condo at a time when Canadians are suffering as a result of your government. You did not know that the Deputy Chief of Protocol for Global Affairs Canada attended a Russian embassy party. And you did not know that Canada accepted an invitation to send a patrol ship to Cuba while the Russian Navy was present, despite your comments about Ukraine. I'm very concerned about you, Minister Melanie, not knowing what is going on. And why are you so uninformed as to what goes on in your own department? Why do you not know?
So these were not the answers I gave you. So of course, Stephanie, you can't, say and use the pre-written questions you had.
Minister
But
said that you do not
basically,
know.
What I can tell you, what I know, is the investments in the U.S. is fundamental, which you would agree because you used to work as a diplomat in the U.S. as a trade commissioner, which I really thank you for your service to the country, because I
Thank
think
you,
it was
Minister,
important.
but I maintain the position that you did not know those 3 things. How did you find out about the Russian invasion of Ukraine? Did you know that?
I think that not only did
How
I
did you
know
find
that,
out
but we were
about
ready.
October 7th? How were you made aware of that? Did you know that? It's
Point of
apparent.
order.
I think,
Yeah, go ahead, Ms. Blaney.
Thank you, Chair. And I'm sure the member just doesn't notice, but she is yelling. And again, I just want to bring up concern for the interpreters.
We've had this issue brought up before. If there are worries about the interpreter, they will contact the clerk to address it, so we don't need to do point of orders on those. Go ahead, Ms. Kusi, the time is yours for 1 minute, 10 seconds.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Fortunately, it is apparent that you do know there is an election in the United States today, as you indicated that in your opening statement. But you spoke in your opening statement about how security is at a pivotal moment in the history of Canada, in the history of the world, and yet there is so much that you don't know. I'm here to tell you today, Canadians expect you to know. And if you hope to one day be the leader of the official opposition, Canadians will expect you to know, Madam Minister Melanie.